Hey girls and guys and girls. I hope that you are having a great morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it may be. And I extend godly, holy greetings to you all and thank everybody who comes across this video and anyone who subscribes. I really do appreciate you for being here, okay? It might get a little rough sometimes. I'm not like some professional speaker or anything. I'm just here giving a rundown of the things that God does in my life and how He has shown me certain things, and hopefully making you want to know Him more. Okay, that's all I can hope for and pray for, that this is not swaying you away from the Lord but bringing you closer to the Lord. Okay, because I'm not here to sway you away from God. Okay, oh Lord knows. Right. So I will be speaking on things that the Lord has shown me, and then coming here and showing you how He can speak to you also. All right. So thank you for being here, and I hope that you continue to stay. That's all I can hope for. Right. And with that, with this word, I wasn't expecting to do this word, but this is literally the third time I'm trying to get this word done. Okay, there have been distractions, there have been words being jumbled up in my mouth and all kinds of things, right? So I have to say like a little prayer before I can actually get on here and ask the Lord to use my mouth. Okay, so give me grace, because I'm trying to do like 10 things all at once as well as get this word out, right? So it's been manic. Okay, and that's what happens in our lives. Sometimes it can get manic, it can get mayhem. But are we going to give God the time, right, that He truly deserves? Are we going to sit with Him and consecrate ourselves to Him and listen out for Him and speak to Him the way that we're supposed to? Or are we going to get washed up in the busyness of our schedules, right? And with that, like obviously with all the busyness and everything that's been happening, I haven't heard Him in the way that I'm used to hearing Him, but I know that He will continue to speak, right? The Lord speaks in many ways, okay? And He allows for signs and wonders to follow me for all the days of my life, okay? As His Bible verse turns around and speaks to us and tells us that, you know, He will be speaking. He speaks a lot to us, okay? He wants to get to know us. He wants to be in our life. He wants for us to call on Him in everything that we do, and what we need and how we are speaking to Him should be in a way that, you know, like our Father. Basically, when we want something, like we go to our Father. When we are in need of something, we go to our Father. When we don't need something, will we go to our Father just to speak to Him, to know Him, you know? Just through everything, He wants to know us. So throughout this busy period, right, it's just been a little harder to hear Him in certain ways, right? And I know there's other forces at work here as well, okay? But we're not going to get into that today, because that's not what the word is about. This is a word that is to, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, it's gone out of my head. I would say sanctify, okay? This is a sanctification word. Hopefully you can become sanctified with this word. Hopefully you can listen to Him through this word and realize that, you know, He is aware of the struggles that you have, okay? Whilst you are here on this earth, the Lord knows, okay? That's why He sent His Son down, so He could experience the things that we currently experience, and He could have a knowing of like the desires that we have and the temptations that come our way, right? So God knows all of these things, so He just wants you to sit with Him so that He can speak to you and help you through it, right? So as I said, through this busy period, I haven't heard Him correctly in the ways of like dreaming and stuff like that. It's like there'll be parts of dreams and then it will disappear because there's a distraction, okay? It's just been crazy, okay? So I haven't been hearing correctly through my dreams, so I won't come here with anything about dreams at this precise moment. But the way that the Lord is speaking to me is through His signs and wonders, okay? So sometimes He'll give visions, sometimes it will be dreams, sometimes it will be through signs and wonders, through His people that come to you. All kinds of ways the Lord will speak, right? And I'm not going to come here with a false dream or anything and just make something up, right? So I've just left the dream for now until when the Lord says, you know, you're getting enough sleep, okay? Because if anybody has had a baby before, then you know that that is pretty scarce, right? Even though it's not my baby, but it's baby in my household, so it's pretty scarce on sleep, right? So without the sleep that's required, you can not hear the Lord in the ways that you're supposed to hear the Lord, right? And that's a way of the enemy attacking also, okay? He will use your family members, he will use these situations, okay, against you, so that the Lord cannot speak to you, all right? Or so he thought, right? Because as usual, the devil shall not succeed. The Lord will always triumph and win, okay, and be victorious, as we are, okay? So the Lord had this video pop up a week ago where she was speaking about your person burning for you, okay, with desire and a longing, okay? They know who you are, and it was a kingdom spouse word. And obviously there's a lot of people who are obsessed with the kingdom spouse words and stuff like that. Me now, I'm just kind of like, like, it's nice to know that there's somebody who has been created for me, but if what I'm seeing right now is the person who's supposed to be for me, I'm not interested, right? I'm just gonna be real, right? So the Lord knows that I'm not particularly up and down my page looking for kingdom spouse words. I'm just trying to see people's testimonies and like looking out for sewing patterns, like different things on YouTube. And this lady pops up quite a bit on my news feed, but sometimes I feel led and other times I don't feel led, right? So I won't go towards something that I don't feel led to watch. But that one popped up and I was like, okay, then cool. Some things were confirmation to me from certain things I had prayed to the Lord about in the secret place, right? And other things weren't for me, okay? So as she says she eat the meat and spit out the bones, right? So I took what meat was for me and left the rest, and kept it moving. Didn't think anything of it. So 2 days ago, sorry, not later. 2 days ago, she pops up again. This time this word is pretty fresh. This word's either a week ago or a few days ago that she did this word. And she's speaking about burning again. So I was like, oh, okay. I know that there's an algorithm on YouTube. I'm not completely like oblivious to the algorithms that will pop up on our newsfeed, right? But I was like, right, okay. I don't see this as a coinky-dink, right? So I'm going to go and see what she's saying. There was other messages within this message, right? And I'm not going to lie to you, like one of the other messages resonated with me also, okay? So that resonated more with me than the one about the burning, okay? So I was like, I definitely came across this video today for a reason, okay? Because that was also a confirmation for something else that I had prayed, right? It's like when I go to church and he'll speak through his children in church, and I've just prayed like a night ago or 2 nights ago, and he'll give me the answers I've been seeking, right? It's the same difference. So I got a confirmation through that video in the first message that she did, and then obviously she began speaking about the rushing, okay, the quickening, should I say, of whoever this message was for's marriage, right? Because the Lord says that you are burning right now, and it's not good for you to burn with desire, okay? It's better for you to be married, right? We're going to get into that Bible verse shortly as well, right? I think I screen grabbed it. So I was like, okay, Lord, well, that's 2 messages that I've seen where you're speaking about burning. Now I'm not going to run with it and just say, okay, I'm going to make a word out of this because I've seen 2 videos, etc., etc. I says, no, that's not enough for me. That is not enough for me. I don't want to be that person who continuously asks the Lord for like confirmation after confirmation after confirmation. But if I feel like this is something that he's pointing out to me, I want you to give me as much confirmations as possible so that I can know that this is what you want me to speak about, right? So I was like, okay then, well, I'm going to leave it as that. I've got 2 of them, but I am not running with this. Like, there's nothing else I've seen that is pointing in this direction that the Lord's speaking about this right now or wants me to speak about this right now. So I'm going to leave it, right? And as we know, The Lord can either answer straight away or he can take his time. Okay, he's God, he can do whatever he wants, right? So I've just gone about my week, doing my thing and everything. And then I've been seeing a lot about Bridgerton, as you can see from the picture, right? This is why I chose this picture, right? As you can see, it's from the 1800s, right? And I was like, oh, should I watch Bridgerton? I'm not really somebody who likes to sit and watch a lot of things anymore, okay? Because the Lord has shown me so much in the music and in the movies and things like that. Like, I really do not want to affect my eyes and ear gates, right, as much. And I will be honest with you, Bridgerton has a lot of swearing in it. It has sexual scenes and, Sodom in there. There was a whole lot, right? And I was like, oh my gosh. But the message that the Lord had to give me through this was evident on what he was turning around and saying, okay? Because I have been a person who has indulged in certain sins whilst I was in the world. The Lord knows how to speak to me, and he knows where to take me to. So for weeks, I've been sitting there like, do I watch Bridgerton? Because it's like, I like that kind of stuff, right? I like those kind of period dramas, based in those olden times, and it was all like dramatic and all these kinds of things. And personally, I just love the way that they try and like, I don't hear myself the way that other people hear myself, but I don't think we sound like that, but I like to imitate it too at the same time, because I like the London accent. It's more like the London accent that they'll sway towards, right? So it's it's like the posher side of the London accent, right, that they sway towards, and I like to watch that and listen to it, right? So, and with all the puffy dresses, like I like all the big dresses, the big hair, not so much. Some of the hairstyles are nice, like when they're a little bit more simpler, but the hairstyles and stuff that are in Bridgerton, some of them are ridiculous, but I get it. Because at that time, there was a lot of exaggerated things that used to happen and stuff like that, right? Even though black people weren't treated well at that time, right? I love the fact that Bridgerton has cast black actors as well, right? So that's what I liked about it also. So it's like we get a little part of that life, okay? And it's based in like the richer end of society, basically, right? So yeah, if you feel led to watch it, go ahead and watch it, right? I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but I have to kind of get into it in order for you to have an understanding of why I say that the Lord is saying do not burn with desire right now, okay? And why he is pinpointing this at me and whoever else this word is for, right? Because it's not just for me. So with that, I was like, okay, right, I'm gonna give it a go. So yesterday I began watching Bridgerton, okay? And oh my goodness, it's like it begins instantly, right? All of the stuff just begins instantly. But there is a guy called Simon, and he's the Duke, and he comes back to town, okay? And then there's the family of Bridgertons and like all the other high class people who have their daughters who wish to marry, and they have to go before the Queen. And Daphne is the Bridgertons' daughter who is up for marriage now, right? Or this season, should I say? Okay, that's a word for someone. Okay, it's someone's season for marriage. Okay, and that's basically what the Lord is turning around and saying anyway, right? Like, wait for marriage, right? And in this time, these girls have to be pure, virgins, and carry themselves in a certain way with a certain demeanor. They cannot be spotted sporting, as they like to say, out and about with a man unchaperoned, okay? And like all of these kinds of things, right? And otherwise it will salt, or isn't it not salt, what's the word I'm looking for, it will sodden, what's the word, it will muddy, okay? We're going to go with muddy. It will muddy up their name, okay? Not just theirs, but their family name, okay? And Simon gets bumped into by Daphne, and when they first meet, it's like she doesn't know who he is, and there's this whole exchange, like you can kind of see that it's gonna go in the way like they'll like each other, but right now it's like, ugh, Like, you're so arrogant, you're so this pretentious and blah blah blah, right? They don't initially get off to a very good start, okay? So I'm not going into everything. I'm not going to do it scene by scene, okay? So in the end, she ends up not being the fairest one because another girl comes about, and there's only one suitor who's interested, and he's creepy, okay? He's like a creep, and that's why she was running away and bumped into Simon in the first place, all right? The Duke, because she was trying to get away from that guy. So he ended up being the only person who was available. This guy comes, visits her. She does not like him. She has no romantic attraction to this guy at all. And, she's thinking about all of her options, and she's like, well, it looks like I'm going to get married, but I'm not going to get married to the person who I want to get married to, because she wants to marry for love, okay? Who doesn't want to marry for love? Oh my gosh, right? And where was I? Where did we get to? Yes, so it comes to a case where they are out, and she goes out into the garden, and this guy follows her. He tries to make an advance at her, and she gives him a solid right hook. When I say, I was like, I wasn't even expecting it, but she gave him that right hook, boom, straight in the eye, right? And sorry, Lord, I shouldn't have found it funny, but it was just like, oh, okay. So it's a little ghetto in Bridgerton, okay. So that's when the Duke runs and sees his advances and wants to help, but she doesn't need the help, and he can clearly see she doesn't need the help. So although they are not particularly fond of each other, they have to come up with a ruse, okay? Like, because she's gonna get into trouble basically for punching the guy, and like, basically, he was the only suitor that was there. She's getting into a fuss about not having a husband, and it's going to ruin her and her family, etc., etc. So the Duke says, okay, then we will come up with a plan, okay? So he can get people off of his back, right? Because they want him to marry, and her name won't, be dragged through the mud, because obviously when they see them together, all the men are going to be interested, and etc., etc. So they walk through to the ball and they dance together. There's a lady who, you need to watch it, okay? Like, whoever this is for, you need to go watch Bridgerton. But there is a lady, right, who is narrating this whole thing, and with all the gossip and whatnot. This is why I didn't really want to get into it, because I know that these shows have gossip and things in it, right? And gossip is not of God, right? I don't want anybody thinking that we're promoting those kinds of things, but the Lord initially made me go and watch this, okay, for the specific reasons why I'm doing this word now, okay? So they go through the dance or whatever. They have to come up with the plan to go to a few events together, show together, do the the thing, what do they call it? I can't remember, but they go on walks and stuff like that, right? And when they go on these walks, they have to be seen by everybody doing certain things and stuff like that to make them have more interest, and you can see that their relationship is starting to form, okay? Even though they initially didn't like each other, you can see the relationship starting to form, but the both of them are to be reserved, right? And of course the Duke is not interested in, well, he is interested in getting married, but because of a thing that he said, well, I'm not going to say who he said it to, he wanted to stay true to his word, okay? He wanted to have that one last thing over this person, right? So it was kind of difficult, even if his feelings were showing that this girl had started to gain his heart, his trust, and he had started to love her, he still was on the fence about becoming married, right? All in all, these feelings start blossoming and everything, and he gets asked, what are you doing with her? Basically, it's been taking too long, you're courting her for way too long, are you just dangling her on a rope or whatever? And he decides to cut it short, right? Their plan end, that's it. He says, right, there's a prince, you can marry the prince, okay? Oh yes, the prince comes in, sorry, I forgot about that part, but a prince comes in, right? The queen's nephew, right? From Russia. And he would have been a awesome match for her, basically, right? So that's why the Duke said, right, no, we got to end this. I can't see you anymore. Put his feelings to a side, said he's going to leave England and just leave her to get married to the prince. Of course, his feelings was not allowing him to do so. Okay, so he went to find her at one of the balls, and she runs off into the gardens, and he runs after her. Bear in mind, they're not supposed to not be seen with any man anywhere. He runs after her, catches up with her, and ends up kissing her. Okay, her brother sees and says, you must marry her, because now you have dishonored her, you've soiled her. Okay, because as I said, they're virgins. They're not supposed to have kissed anyone, they're not supposed to have been touched, they're not supposed to have been sleeping with anyone. Okay, right? So there's all of these things to play in it. So he's saying, no, now you must marry her, but he's saying, I cannot. So then they go to have a duel. Okay, which a duel is just basically a gunfight, right? So whoever shoots first wins, right? The other person did. Okay, so they go to do this, and she says to her other brother, you must tell me where they've gone. Okay, because there was someone who saw, which was her rival. Okay, a frenemy, shall we say? All right, who ultimately wanted the prince to. If you watch it, you'll know what I'm saying. So she saw what happened, so she now has to go and stop this duel from happening. Nearly gets shot, and obviously says he must marry her, right? She finds out that apparently he can't have kids. I don't know whether he literally can't have kids, or if it's for the fact that of what he promised the person, that he won't have kids, or if he actually went about not having any, okay, and getting snipped or whatever, right? I don't really know. I haven't got that far in the story to even know what's going to happen, right? And she decides, well, she doesn't care, she's going to marry him anyway, right? So they go through the whole of the marriage and everything. He's obviously in some way upset about certain things, but not upset about being with her. He loves her, but he's reserved. Okay, so on the way to obviously where he lives, they have to stop off at an inn. Okay, this is after they've been married, so she's not very happy about having to stop at an inn on her honeymoon. And I heard something about 3 days. Okay, so I believe they spent 3 days apart, okay, in separate rooms, and all you see is them pacing. I thought it was just the same night, okay, because they had the same clothes on and everything. I wasn't thinking anything else. And they're pacing up and down. Both of them are doing the same exact thing, and they haven't spoken to each other properly or anything like that. And then she goes to the door to try and go to him. Okay, this is on the third day. Oh, remember, things can happen on the third day. All right, the Lord can work wonders in 3 days. But anyway, that's for whoever it is for. And he comes into the room, and they obviously have their conversation. And honey, when I say that, when this man broke it down to her and she spoke to him, and he turned around and he said, I burn for you. Oh my God, within even myself, I was like, if my husband, honey, I want you to go and watch it, okay? And he's a very attractive man, not to look at him with haughty eyes or anything like that, but he is very attractive, right? Even for me saying so. And it just is what it is. He's an attractive man. And he just was like, and for the 3 days, and he says, how it feels to love someone and have these feelings for someone, and they don't return them. The whole time she has the same feelings, but it's like she can't get her words out right, he can't get his words out right, they don't know how to explain it to each other, and then it's just a moment, and then it's just like, oh my gosh, and then they start kissing, and then from there it's a sex scene, right? But I was like, that's a bit too much for me, so I skipped that. Okay, and then obviously went to the next episode. Okay, but let me tell you when that man, I wish I could just put the video. Oh, I want to go into my Netflix and show you the part where it just starts to break. I should have had it on standby. Okay, when he starts to stand there in front of her, and he just speaks about the burning he has inside of him for her. Like, you can see the desire, the lust, but the love at the same time. Like, he just wants her in that moment. It's like a carnal thing, right? And ooh. Anyone who knows, okay, without getting all giddy in that kind of way, right? No sexual way. It's just like, oh my gosh, like, that is just beautiful, right? And that's how God intended it. Okay, these two are married now. They had not done anything sexual with each other, just kissed each other. Okay, which is not good. Okay, from what the Lord has turned around and told me, like, don't be out here kissing and canoodling your person, even if you know who they are and you're not married yet, right? That's still something that you shouldn't be doing, partaking in. It's not like the biggest sin, but it's still sin, okay, because you are outside of your marriage. So that's for who it's for. The Lord has told me in particular that I can't kiss the person, like that. I'm a kisser, right? That's been something that I've loved for a very long time, and it leads to other things. So he knows that the kissing thing, that needs to be on halt, okay? Put it on ice, okay? So basically, with that scene, I was like, yo, that's confirmation number 3. I was like, Lord, listen. The way how I'm sitting here laughing right now, with it's like I got tears in my eyes for the way that he speaks at the same time, because it's like there's a joy, and then there's like a realization, and then there's like this elatedness that's just, listen, oh my gosh, like, yeah, the tears are in my eyes, because it's just like 3 confirmation, right, that he is speaking what he is saying right now about us and our desire. Okay, we have to be very careful and very mindful about our should we say horniness, because that's the worldly way of speaking about it, okay, instead of saying burn, okay, and the desire that we have, okay, of our flesh to be with someone or that one person. Okay, if you know who your person is right now and you are in the vicinity, right, you are together dating, courting, shall we say, right, you need to have self-control. Okay, this is where the fruits of the spirit are to come into play. You need to have self-control, okay, because if you allow for yourself to burn, you will be in direct sin. And you know, the Lord wants for you to be in your marriage, okay, so that you may consummate your marriage with your husband or your wife. Okay, as I said, this is not just for women, it's for men also. Okay, the way that this man spoke, it's not like he was a virgin, you know. She was the one who hadn't been touched. He was the one who had been out there doing the most, okay, sleeping with whoever, right, just to sleep with them. And the way that this woman made him feel, he felt like a virgin again, okay, because you could see like the initial he was scared, okay. This love that he was feeling scared him, okay. Like, how has this woman come in and intoxicated his very being, okay, and no other woman has ever done that to him, okay. Like, the love that he felt for her, oh my gosh, off the screen, off the back. And when he spoke to the queen, oh my gosh, and he said all the things about her in front of the queen, I was just like, oh my gosh, oh, you know, you're just like, oh wait, I need for someone to talk about me like that, like, it was just like, oh wow, like, you initially feel like someone is speaking those things to you. It's like, oh yes, my husband speaks about me like that and speaks to me like that. Come on, we got to do this right now, right? Sorry, I shouldn't even laugh, but it gets like that, okay, especially if you're in love with that person and they can just say like 1 or 2 things, they stand up for you in some kind of way, it's on, we got to go, okay. Like, sorry, like, it's probably a ghetto thing to turn around and say, but it's like, wherever we're at and he speaks to me like that, it's like, can we go home now please, we got some stuff to work out. He'll be like, what we got to work out? I'll be like, no, you got to lay me down, okay. Sorry, we just got to keep it real, we're just going to keep it all the way 100, because that's your husband and or that's your wife, okay, and they will know how to speak to your very being, okay, to your spirit. So yes, you will burn for each other, okay, but you have to do this within your marriage, okay. And yes, this is an old-fashioned, you know, sitcom, rom-com, I don't even know what it's called, right, series, right. This is an old-fashioned series, right, based in those times when, you know, it was an honor to be married. It was a good thing, okay. But in this society, it's like they push the devil's agenda of sleeping around and, you know, doing all kinds of different things. And that's what he had to show me in this film also, because in this film, one of the Bridgerton brothers is an artist, right? And he goes to this house, and when he goes there at first, he's drawing, and a woman standing there with her chest out, and they're drawing them, etc., etc. The next time he goes back there, it's like a party, and there's a whole bunch of Sodom going on in there. There's men kissing men, and women with women, and threesomes and foursomes and fivesomes and quadruples and all the rest of it that's happening in there, okay? And he gets involved in such also, yes? So, yeah. The Lord had to turn around and show me this, right? Because as I said, I have indulged in certain sins before, okay? Like, I used to call it freakiness or whatever, right? But it's not freakiness, it's just sin, okay? It's against God's law and how he wants us to be. He wants us with our one person, our husband or our wife, okay? If they so see fit, and if, it comes to pass, right? But God's way will be his way, and what he says is what he says, okay? And who he says is who he says. My nose is itching, right? Unless you are in direct disobedience, and you really just be like, nope, don't want that person at all, like, and you've gone your own way and done your own thing and widowed yourself, basically, and chose your own way, then I see that as the Lord can issue replacements. I don't care what anyone says. I believe he can issue replacements, because I've seen him in the Bible replace people who have not abided by his rules. And in his word, he has even turned around and he said, basically, you don't do what I tell you to do, then I'm going to give what was for you away to someone who is not even a believer, okay? You'll have to go find that Bible verse yourself also, okay? Because I'm not doing all the homework for you. I'm here to give you this word so that you can have this understanding, okay? Sometimes we can be in direct disobedience to the Lord and do our own thing, okay? Because we have free will, okay? We all have free will, but at the end of the day, when we give it up to the Lord and we say, here, Heavenly Father God, I want this, or I don't want this, but your will be done, okay? Just like how Jesus had to speak it on the cross. Lord, take this cup away from me, but if this is your will, then let your will be done. It's the same with us, okay? When we fully surrender everything over to the Lord, including our love life, okay? Everything in our life, okay? Our finances, our job, our children, everything that he gave us, okay? Because all these things he has given to us, right? When we surrender it all over to the Lord and we say, your will be done, you better believe that his will be done, okay? Whatever that will is, okay? God don't change his mind, but he already has a plan. God don't change his mind, but he already has a plan. And we will never truly know his ways, because his word tells us that, okay? His ways are not our ways, okay? Our ways are not his ways, okay? His thoughts are not our thoughts. And that is in Isaiah, because I literally read that just the other day. Let me see if I can find which verse it is. Isaiah 55, okay? Verse 8. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. Okay? Isaiah 55 verse 8. Okay? And so on. If you feel led to go and read Isaiah 55, then please go ahead and do so also. Okay? So, with that being said, right? The Lord knows all of the things that we come up against. Okay? Don't think he's out here not knowing that you're really aching for this person, all right? Or that person's really aching for you, okay? That you both want each other, and he's just going to sit back and not allow for this thing to come to pass, okay? This lady turned around and said in two of her words, the person is burning for you, burning with desire for you, and the other one was, he is speeding up your marriage because you are burning, okay? He understands the things that you are going through, okay? He understands that it is hard for you right now, okay? Knowing that this person is your person and not being able to touch them, not being able to get, passionate with the one person that has been told you are their person, or you have been told that they are your person, and vice versa, right? And you're not married yet, so there's nothing you can do about it, okay? Whereas if you was in the world, you would have been boyfriend and girlfriend already, okay? Right? You would have been doing the most. You would have been cohabitating in, playing house and all of these different kinds of things. But now that you're doing it God's way, you're having to wait for him to say, yes, it's time for you to marry, okay? But he is saying that he's speeding it up, okay? These two had to get married. Listen, they had to go before the queen. That's the other thing. They had to go before the queen so they could get the license, so that they could marry quickly. So there was no scandal, okay? Even though there was partly a scandal, right? They had to get married quickly. They could not wait, okay? That's another thing that was the confirmation. He says it's coming in swift, all right? Because he can see that you are burning and the other person is burning. You two need to be together so that you can do the things that he says that you need to do, okay? There are things that need to be done in God's kingdom. That is why these marriages are important. That is why the devil will try and put things in your way. When I tell you the amount of things that was coming in between this woman and her marriage promise, my gosh, the amount of things that tried to come in between her and this marriage promise, even to the point where it says that he cannot have children. That is still something that is trying to come against the promises that the Lord had given to her, because she wanted children, a house, a husband. She wanted the whole thing, okay? And marrying the Duke, he says he cannot have children. So she sacrificed not having children for the love that she had for this man, and to save her family name all at the same time, okay? Just like how Esther had to save her people and go before the king, okay? She had to sacrifice for her marriage, okay? For her people's life, okay? Because had this scandal gotten out, her family name, the Bridgerton name, would have been dragged through the mud, and they would possibly not even be in the high ranks of the royal, status that they are currently sitting at, okay? She had to sacrifice something that she truly wanted, which was the kids, for that love, okay? For this marriage, for her family, okay? And she sacrificed a prince at that as well. The prince would probably have been way more suited for her, okay? But because of the love that she had for the Duke, she couldn't let it go, okay? She couldn't let it go. And that love right there isn't given by anyone else but God, okay? That love right there isn't given by anyone else but God. This man didn't even acknowledge, the Duke didn't even acknowledge the other females that were throwing themselves at him, okay? Daphne didn't even like the guy, okay, to begin with. You won't have to do much, okay? Just be yourself. You won't have to do much, okay? There may be even the case that you did not like each other when you first met, but your friendship has blossomed into more, and God already knows what he's going to do next, okay? But there will be sacrifices, because in everything there is sacrifice, okay? In everything there is sacrifice, and sometimes it may not feel good, okay? Oh, my nose is itching. Oh, come on now, Lord. Oh, sorry guys, if you don't know by now, when my nose itches, it's like, yes, the Lord is speaking right now, okay? Come through, Jesus. Come through, Holy Spirit. Let's do this, okay? He says he doesn't want you to burn with desire outside of your marriage, whether it seems old-fashioned or not, okay? It's his way. It's God's way. And when you decide to take God's way, you abide by his rules, okay? Like they have rules in their society, is the same kind of rules that the Lord has for his daughters and his sons, okay? We haven't all been perfect. Like the Duke had not been perfect. He had been out there doing the most, okay? He hadn't had the best upbringing. So his definition of things was skewed, right? Whereas she had grown up in a loving family, okay? All of her brothers and sisters, her mother, her father, like she knew what a loving household looked like and she knew what she wanted. Your person probably doesn't come from a loving background, like he doesn't have family, or he has family but they're not family, they're just relatives, okay, that he knows, but there's no real connection. That could be the case. Whatever is your story, God sees and he knows, okay, that you are burning right now for that one person, okay, in the flesh, that's going to love you the way that God loves you, okay, that is going to tell you so. Oh my gosh, he's going to tell you, okay, he's going to speak life into you and you are going to speak life into him and it's going to be beautiful, okay? But that's all from you waiting, okay, for God to bring it to you. Waiting for God to say, now is the time for you to be wed, to marry, okay? Now is the time for you to be in your marriage union and consummate it, okay? And then you can burn for each other and do all of the things with each other that you have longed to do, kissing, cuddling, sex, the whole lot, okay? Because God created it for your marriage, okay? Not outside of it. Not outside of it, whether that's your person right now or not, okay? Do not fornicate. Oh, my nose. Do not fornicate, okay? No kissing, no cuddling, no hand gestures, okay, on both sides. You know what I'm talking about, without getting crude. None of it, okay? No sexual acts whatsoever. You take it to the Lord, okay? Take your burning to the Lord and ask for him to put it on ice, okay? He needs to freeze it, okay? Cool you down, okay? Let the Lord cool you down, okay? So that you do not end up sinning, because you can die in your sin. And trust me, you die in your sin, you don't know what awaits you on the other side. Just wait, have patience. The Lord is making sure to do this, and he says swiftly, okay? Swiftly he shall do this, right? So I'm going to get into the Bible verses, go into my oh, I was already in there, okay. Go into my camera. And what did I do? I got some names, didn't I? So this is the Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 7. But each man has his own gift from God. One has this gift, another has that. Now to the unmarried and the widows I say, it is good for them to stay unmarried as I am. But if they cannot control themselves, they should marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. Okay, you want to go and read that verse, then go right ahead and have a read, okay? Of course, it's 100% better for you to be, like by yourself and not have another person, like as Paul had explained in this, right? He was going solo dolo, right? And the blessings of being someone who is completely consecrated to the Lord and doesn't wish to marry are, exceedingly great, like beautiful thing, okay? But if you find that you cannot and you simply need someone, okay, you are to be married, okay? The Lord has placed it on your heart from a very long time ago that you wish to marry, okay? Whether it was when you was a child, whether it was when you was a teenager, and people turned around and said, oh, that's a silly thing, and that's never going to happen, blah blah blah, and they swayed you away from it. That has always been in your heart. Okay, the Lord knows what's in your heart, and he knows that you desire your person, okay, your husband or your wife. So don't allow for society to sway you away from what you originally want, okay, because the Lord already knows. He sees it, okay. So please go ahead and go and read 1 Corinthians 7 if you feel led to go and read it, okay? Or just take this from the value that it has right now and just know that this is what the Lord is saying, okay? So the guy's name is Simon in Bridgerton, okay? And his name means to hear, hearing, listening, okay? And I was like, I hear you, Lord. I hear you, Lord. I definitely hear you, okay? Because especially because of the fact of how he was speaking in Bridgerton, I want you to go and just go and watch it, okay? Just watch it up until third or fourth episode, whatever you feel led to do, but make sure you get to that part when he's standing in front of her in that all right, in that room that she's in. He walks in and he speaks to her, and this slight awkwardness, and then he just lets her know, okay, I hear you, Lord. Through this man, when he spoke, I could hear the Lord, okay, speaking. That's the love, okay, the burning desire that the Lord has placed inside of your husband, your wife, right? I could hear it. I could hear it through this man, okay? I could hear it through this man. I was just like, Lord, oh my gosh, the confirmation that you, yes, oh my gosh. But anyway, right? Sorry, I'm getting so excited. But anyway, so I went to her name, right? Her name's Daphne, right? And Daphne means laurel tree. And when I looked up laurel tree, it just basically means, a tree, like a bay tree. It's just a tree. And I was like, no, but it's not just a tree, okay? It's not just a tree. The Lord has in his word, right? I wonder if I did. Yeah, I did screen grab it, right? In his word, he speaks of the tree, okay? Psalms 1 and 3. And it's not just the only time that he speaks about it. It says, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Daphne, no matter what happened with every situation in Bridgerton, she was the planted tree, okay, by the rivers, okay? When you think of the rivers and the living water, right, you're thinking of God, okay? All of these things, she was specifically planted, okay, right, so that she can bring forth fruit in her season, okay? And whatever she did prospered, okay? It didn't matter what was going on around her or what situation she found herself in, she prospered, okay? And she also came out looking like the diamond, okay? Listen, go and watch Bridgerton, because, hey, listen, she was the jewel, okay? The prize, okay? The tree that was planted in the middle of the river, of this place by the rivers, okay? Of all the things that would just see the river as like water. Water is unpredictable, okay? It can gush, it can be still, it can do the most, okay? So all of these things that was happening around about her, she still brought forth fruit. She was fruitful in every endeavor, in every place that she went to. She was fruitful. People could see her fruit, her beauty, okay? Not just her outer beauty, but her beauty on her inner, okay? Even though most of them were looking at her outer beauty, right? They could see the fruits that she bears, right? She was planted as that tree. She couldn't move. When you're a tree, can a tree move? A tree can't move unless it's knocked down, okay? And it will take a lot to knock that tree down. You need all the tools, right? And no matter what the enemy tried to do, he could not knock her down. He could not take away her promises that the Lord had said was hers, okay? No matter what situation happened, yeah, she fell in love and she got her husband. The Lord knew what was on her heart, and he gave it to her because she was burning for her happily ever after with her husband. And no matter what was going on round about her, she came out victorious. She prospered. And she carried on going forward. No matter what was happening, she kept on pushing forward. She said, all right, I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm going out. I'm going to put my hair up. I'm going to put my face on. I'm going to put my nice dress on. I'm going to go and show face, okay? No matter what's being said or what's happening, I'm there, okay? She showed up. She showed up, okay? Because she knew that she had been positioned for such a time as this, just as Esther had been positioned for such a time as this. God says, for such a time as this, he has called you into your marriage, okay? If it hasn't happened yet, it's about to go down, okay? All right? I had to look up the names. I was led to look up their names. It was like, okay, Simon. Okay, Daphne. Let's see. And the confirmation that comes from this, oh my God, my nose. I wish you could see. Oh God. Wow. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Keep the download coming. That's what I say to the Lord. Keep the download coming, because at the end of the day, we need this, okay? We need this. We need to feel like it's not all in vain, okay? We need to have a encouraging word sometimes to know that the Lord has not forgotten us, okay? And he is working, because many a time with everything that goes on in the business in our life, we can feel like we've been forgotten, okay? We can feel like it's not going to happen. Did we hear him wrong? You know? And it's so refreshing to know to know that he's still speaking, he is still working, he still hears us and sees us, okay? And right now he is saying it's swiftly approaching for whoever this is for, okay? That burning, right? That flame, and we're not talking about no twin flame demonic business here, okay? That's the devil's version, and we don't do that here, okay? So if you've got this far, we don't do that here, all right? I know where that leads. The Lord allowed for me to experience all of that, okay? We're not talking about that. We're talking about God's love, okay, for his two people that he has placed together. He is doing this thing, okay? So please don't give up. Don't give up hope. Don't think that it's never going to happen. You may not have the finances right now, whatever it may be. You know, you may not know how to go about this wedding. You may not know when it's going to happen, and if it's happening really quickly and you have actually been proposed to, you're engaged, and it's only been for about a week or whatever. Sometimes the Lord will allow for y'all to have a short engagement, okay? A very short engagement, and then you will be married. That's how he does things sometimes, okay? And you may very well be that person it's going to happen to. So please be prepared, okay? It's time for you to be prepared, because the Lord is not messing about with these marriages that he's putting together. Time is of the essence, okay? There is much work to be done. So stop burning outside of this thing and allow for the Lord to put it together, okay? So, yeah, I looked up the, what did I look up for this? The virgin and the bride, right? Basically, yeah, I was looking up like what it says in the Bible, right, in Isaiah. So Isaiah 62:5, for as a young man marrieth a virgin, so shall thy sons marry thee, and as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, so shall thy God rejoice over thee. Okay, so this is what happens when he places you in your marriage, okay? You have decided to be celibate, okay, or abstinent, whichever way you want to look at it, okay? So now he is seeing you as his daughter, his virgin daughter, okay? And his sons shall marry thee, okay? His son shall marry thee. And as the bridegroom rejoiceth over the bride, like what Simon the Duke was doing, he was rejoicing over her. He was so, he was so enamored and so in love with her, right? He rejoiced over his bride. It says, "So shall thy God rejoice over thee." Okay, because God is our first husband, first and foremost. Okay. He's the one that we are first connected to. Okay, if you're a man, you see as that's your connection, you're your ultimate connection. Okay, I know some men don't like to turn around and say he's their husband. Okay, because we don't do that Sodom stuff and things like that. But you say he's the first one you're connected to. He's your bride. He's your everything. Okay, that's how you should see him. He's your everything. Okay, so the same way how God loves you as a man and as a woman, right? It's the same way you are to love each other, okay, with God's love, right? And in this, they were showing God's love, okay? They had that love for each other, okay? And I looked at Isaiah 43:1. "But now, thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name. Thou art mine." Okay, so if you ever had anything to worry about, anything that you was thinking about, and you're saying, "Oh, maybe I am not in God's presence, or this is not what he wants for me," like you're starting to have doubts and stuff, he says, don't doubt. Okay, you are his. Okay, and he is yours. All right. And I was looking up the part in the series where he had me realize about the Sodom and Gomorrah with the men and women all together and stuff like that. And that if someone is partaking in such things right now, repent. Okay, it is not of God, and it can send you straight to the pits of hell. Okay, I even was brought to hell, right? This was one that he has had placed back into my memory and my heart again about why this is so important. Okay, in this dream there was a bed, right? And on this bed there was a whole bunch of sexual activity that was taking place. Okay, women and men, and like one of the women that was on there was one of these tarot readers, right? Because back then I used to watch tarot, right? It was one of these tarot readers, and she was on the bed and I was standing. But as I was standing, right, it made me, like, the dream had me as a man, okay, in this dream, and I was holding my member in the dream, right, whilst watching what was happening on this bed, right? And I felt myself turn upside down. Okay, I was standing, bear in mind I was standing, and I felt myself turn upside down. Okay, that has so much significance that we're not even going to go all the way into that, but I'll just turn around and say, imagine the devil turning the cross upside down. Okay, that's how much sin you are placing yourself into. Okay, you are going deep into the depths of hell when you are participating in such acts. So if you are having threesomes and all those different kinds of things, and sleeping with women or sleeping with men, please turn away from that sin. Okay, I know personally for myself, okay, for my own situation, because God had to call me away from that way of thinking. Okay, and that freak nature, I'm thinking that's just a way that we're supposed to be because we're sexual beings. No, it's not of God. Okay, so I had to look up the part in the Bible because I know that it speaks of it. Yeah, it speaks of it in Romans. Okay, I know it spoke of it in the Bible. I had to find it. Okay, so Romans 1 verses 26-29. "And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error which was met." Okay, so he's speaking of the men and the women that turned towards each other, men with men and women with women. Okay, and they burned. Did you see the significance of the word? They burned in their lust one toward another. Don't burn in lust for another woman. Don't burn in lust for another man. Okay, it is not of God. It is not of God, and it can send you straight to the pits of hell. Believe me, don't do it. Okay, so yeah, that concludes the word for today. Please, please, please do not burn in your desire, okay? Do not let that desire take a hold of you and let you be out here doing the most, okay? Allow for the Lord to direct your path, to work on your lusts, okay, to work on your fleshly desires, to work on your marriage, okay, to work on your countenance, shall we say, okay? Like, you will see what you will see all that God can do for you when you submit, okay, yourself to his will, and you consecrate yourself to him so that you are able to hear him and obey him, okay, the way that you're supposed to, because this world will have you out here tripping, okay? And when you're tripping, sometimes you're going to be slipping and you're going to slip right into the depths of hell, and you need to take it to the Lord, okay? Whenever you feel like that emotion is going to take hold of you, please run towards the Lord. Do not run to pornography. Do not run to masturbation. Do not run into the arms of either your person or someone else. Just run straight to God, okay? That's who you need to run to at this time, because he knows how difficult it is right now, okay? As I said, I have to ask him whenever those feelings pop. I couldn't watch that sex scene, okay? Even though you don't see it, I couldn't watch that sex scene because of all the emotions and everything, everything in that sex scene would just give you like the giddiness to say, oh my gosh, it's been such a long time, and this and this, you can go back to that place. And I had to cut that short. I was like, nope, that's way too much for me. Know your limits, okay? You have to know when to say, nope, I can't cope with that, okay? And that is okay. That is okay. Allow for the Lord to heal you, to get you to that place where you need to be, and to help you along this journey so that you do not make that mistake, okay, of going back to past ways, all right? You want to be a freak? Wait until you can do that with your husband or your wife, honey, okay? Because that will be under the love and protection of our Heavenly Father God, okay? That reminds me, I came across a picture on Facebook the other day. Did I actually screen grab it? I did. Yeah. No, it was Instagram, sorry. It says it takes 2 to get married, but it will take 3 to stay married. Keep Jesus in your marriage. Imagine that popped up. Wow. Wow. What day was this? Will it tell me? What day did I do this? Let's see. File info. 17th of July. Yesterday. Yesterday. Okay. I completely forgot about that. But yeah, that's what he's saying. Okay. He has to be in the middle of your marriage. Okay. You have to place him right in the middle, because that's where your success comes from. Okay. It comes straight directly from the Lord. Okay. And he wants you to have a successful marriage. He wants you to have a loving and just beautiful union with your person, okay? So with that, if you got this far, thank you for listening. I hope that whoever this word is for, you have been fed, okay? And I hope that it made some sense to you, okay? As I said, please, any Bible verses that you want to go and read that I have mentioned, go ahead and do that. If I haven't mentioned any Bible verses that you feel was relevant for this word, please by all means put it in the comments. I like that stuff. I like the interaction. So please just listen to the Lord, okay? And just pay attention to his guiding in this hour, okay, for who this is for. It's so beautiful. I am so elated for you, right? For myself, even, because I want that for myself too. The Lord knows my heart, right? And although the enemy may try to take that away from me, I know who my God is. So I am still just staying steadfast in him. And I want to marry for love too. I don't want to marry for status, okay? Like, he could be a prince, he could be beautiful, he could be tall, dark, handsome, and have all the things. But I want love. I want true love. I want to feel that love for that person. I know whoever this is for, you have that too. You want to feel the love for that person, and you want that person to feel that type of love for you. And you want to see it, and you want to feel it, and you want to hear it as well, because hearing it is just a beautiful thing, because it just affirms everything. Okay, it's like the cherry on top of the cake. So yeah, no, gosh, I feel all giddy and stuff like that. I love loving it. So it's just one of those things. Like I've always said, love is a beautiful thing when you find it and you hold on to it with that person for life. Like, that's just a beautiful thing in itself. Okay, so don't allow for this society or any people who are around you, family or friends or frenemies or whatever, to tell you that, you know, you're delusional because you want to be married or you want love. Okay, God knows, and he's working on it. So don't give up hope, and definitely do not give in to that burning desire. Okay. All right, so with that, I'm going to bid you adieu. I hope that you have a great day, afternoon, evening, whatever it may be, wherever you are. Ciao, Bella.